But we're living in a society that has no interest in you finding what is unique, although they have a nice smoke screen to pretend that they're doing that. That's all this chic, politically correct stuff to make you feel, oh no, we're more independent than we've ever been. You can buy, 500 different colors of Ferrari. There's 1,000,001 different kinds of coffee places, you see. Oh, you have more diversity than ever. This is mostly a media, I have a whole thing on that, the media memes, the propaganda that comes through the media. But keeping in line with what we've been talking about, is that the starting process in all of this is the process of a single human being asking themselves, what is it really that makes me unique? And then I have a subdivision of that, which I went into my Irish Origins DVD. And that is, I know that that's difficult and you probably won't get very far because you might misunderstand what I'm saying. You can't come upon selfhood directly. This thing is almost like a sort of a hall of mirrors in a way. There's a lot of built-in, it's like some sort of Indiana Jones underground labyrinth thing, It's not that easy. There are tricks, and ciphers and things to crack. I'm speaking psychologically. But there is one route to it, and that is to discover what is all that is not the self. And that is apophatic learning. They call it deconstructive, or apophatic processes. Not too familiar in the West. The Germans are pretty good at it because they have a whole, philosophical tradition in this. But in general daily life, this is a bit difficult. The Sherlock Holmes books, there are things in our culture that have gone into this, and there is certain principles of this. People think, oh, you're just talking science. No, there's a big difference, right? This is a psychological model in which you analyze and you think about and you discover all the things that are not the self. There's a teacher called J. Krishnamurti who said, until the false is seen as the false, the truth is not. That's exactly what he was talking about. And there's other models of this as well. And that's what my work is all about, is to try and help people to learn, not to teach them anything, but to help them to learn this process of deconstructive observation. Discover what is false. And that means socially, economically, in all aspects of life, including psychology and the self. That's why my work covers a lot of ground. If you manage to do that, then you're actually cleaning away the briars that stand in the way of the path to this revelation. But that revelation will be an independent one. It's done in the privacy of oneself. Discovering the self can't be done in any form of collectivized way. You can't do it in ashrams. You can't do it in churches. You can't do it in think tanks, and you can't do it in round table meetings. It's absolutely a personal, private thing. In fact, you can't do it in families, and even so, you can't do it even in relationships. People have to think about this deeply. You only do it in a relationship with yourself. Now, we have the other side. What I've been saying hopefully will help people understand the nature of the architects of control. It'll give them a forensic profile of the architects of control, because they're hell-bent to make sure that that never happens. So almost everything they do, including wars, planes hitting buildings, economic meltdowns, black presidents, and God knows what else you could mention, the whole shebang is actually designed to continue building the wall between you and selfhood. When we even talk about soul, self, spirit, and so on, we are actually conditioned by theological interpretations of those things. So it would be wonderful in a perfect world if we could look at these words, you see, without that baggage. But given that we can't and we just have to use those terms, then the only thing I could say is that the soul has been presented to us as if it's something we're given at the time of birth. This is all over the world. Religion, you're born as a human being and you have that spark of God, and you can lose your soul. Right? If you don't do the right stuff, he's lost his soul, this person. And even I use those, we slip into this, we use these types of terms. Actually, we're not even really right at all. The psychologist Thomas Szasz said it in one sentence. He said, the soul is not something that you find or that you have been given. It is something that you create. Once you truly understand this principle, the whole perception of yourself and your life and your purpose on this life and your relationships with other people will fundamentally change for the better. Even though it sounds as heretical as you can get. But we need to grow up. The human race needs to now wake up and grow up and get it, because the world is moving already. You're going to get this whether you like it or not. These concepts are going to be taught to us through, being dragged or you can accept it. But if you accept that the soul is something you are creating and you are the sole creator of it, and you create it in what we call life through experience, a different kind of gratitude, a different kind of reverence arises. And also what arises, well, it helps us with that whole thing of separating ourselves from the crowd, which I said was important earlier. That's one of the things that will really help you do that. And secondly, what it really means is that no one else can really help contribute to that. Because of course that person has to deal with developing their soul, which is different from yours. So immediately you've broken this consensus trance. You may look to other people as guides, as I do. I've got my heroes, I've got my mentors, but I realize that they're guides. The teaching doesn't belong to them. They can't territorialize it. But they may present an aspect of the teaching, you see. Just like, the facets of a diamond, reflect different aspects of light. So that's okay, that's fine. They're presenting their cuisine in a different way, But never lose sight of the fact that you are in the very process of creating your soul, and the agonies that you feel, and the sorrows, and the feelings of loss, and the euphoria that you feel, and the ecstatic, and the peak experiences, and the relationship that you have with music, and with animals, and nature, and human beings. All of this is you taking that lump of clay that was given to you, and trying to turn it into this beautiful thing of your own creation. What most people have done, it just underlines what we've been talking about, is they go, I can't be bothered with all that, getting the hands dirty. I'll stand back and bring in an expert. He's a good sculptor, let him try it. Or, hey mate, can you do it? They go, oh sure. And everyone is modeling everybody else's clay. And that's the pigsty that we're in right now. Nobody is doing so what you basically have is this hideous, abstract thing, ready for the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art, by the way. Some hideous monstrosity, like something out of Alien, the movie, of this, distorted, multifaceted, papier-mâché thing that's got everybody's stamp on it. I pointed out at the conference that there's this logo downtown that says, I am what I am because of everyone. It's on some corporate logo. This is what is being pushed. And basically, we can collude in that by saying, oh, that's just too much work, all that shadow work, soul work, oh, let the religious priest do it. Let me be guided by a strict set of fixed codes, and then I have a fixed heaven waiting for me. I have a savior that can be accepted by all. Or no, I'm an atheist, a scientist, I deal in facts. Even though philosophers like David Hume have said the entire basis of science, which is causality, is utterly a hypothetical construct of the mind. Right? Well, we don't want to mention that, right? So, this process of leaving other people in control, abdicating your own control, and then everybody doing it to everyone is where we are now. They call it multiculturalism, global diversity, they've got all these wonderful terms for it. And it's all based, as I said, as was the Calvinist model, as is this Pavlovian behaviorist model, as is most religious models, including Scientology and Masonry and all of the things that you're seeing in the world, all the things we try to deal with in our work. It's all to drag you away from selfhood. And I've decided in my work to start talking about this because otherwise you're just a basher. You're just, hey Michael, you critique this, you critique that, and a lot of people do this. And it's fine. It has its place. But very importantly, you have to start saying, I'm pointing out the deconstructive stuff here that you need to be aware of, but you have to sort of offer something to replace that. That's a very crucial aspect of this. Otherwise it sort of becomes just finger pointing, which is only about 50% of the problem.